Welcome back to Potatoes. Lieutenant Cabbage coming at you for episode 3 in season 2 of Empyrion Galactic Survival Alpha 6. This episode we're going to focus on the next quest line in the series, which is to create our small vessel. It's the chapter 3 of the tutorial line. I did take a look at this signal test quest. Honestly, I can't figure out what to do with this one. I actually made a trapdoor and jumped in it, or jumped on it. It did nothing. But that still doesn't have anything to do with the statue. I don't know what that refers to quite yet. But I do know what all of these pieces are, of course, for the small vessel, which is our quest line. And as you can see in the top right now, step 1 is, as usual, place a starter block as we start virtually everything we make in the game. We'll go ahead and use this landing pad. We'll drop one and slap one together relatively quickly, specifically for the quest line. This will not be our final ship, obviously, but it will suffice for the moment, certainly get us through the quest. So the next thing, it wants us to add a cockpit, which we have made, and an RCS, which I also have made. With luck, I have everything made. I think I did, but we'll see. I've been known to make mistakes on occasion, after all. All right, let's go ahead and plop that down there. Now we have the cockpit in place, RCS, generator, and fuel tank. So let's see, I should actually clear some of the stuff off my toolbar. Can make use of the space. We'll put the RCS third. We know we'll need the fuel tank and the generator. We'll start with those two, which we can pretty much just drop sideways here behind the cockpit for the generator and the fuel tank. And lastly, but not least, certainly, is the RCS. That is what allows our ships, like everything else, to turn. And as you can see in the top right there under the map now, the next objective is to add thrusters. And see that? Like I said, I knew I'd screw something up. Apparently I didn't make the thrusters, so I will go make 6 thrusters, because we will need a thruster in each of the 4 directions, or excuse me, each of the 6 directions, being front, back, left, right, up, and down. So I'll go ahead in here and just make us 6 small thrusters. Actually will be adequate for this ship, because again, it is not going to be our final craft, so it is not that super critical that we go crazy on making the high-end equipment for it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we'll let those bang out. Alright, and there goes the last one. So once that's complete, we'll pick it up and run back over to the ship and put these guys in place. There we go. Off we go. A quick little sprint so I can no doubt overshoot and miss the mark. Okay. And put them in Hotbar. Alright, so let's see, that is facing up. We will rotate it this way. So which way is it facing? That's to the right. And rotate twice will make it to the left. And we'll rotate it this way, and I think that's down. And then this way we'll make it back, and then we'll put one forward. Even though it's facing into the blocks, it will still function, even though the heat is now an issue, but I don't believe it damages the blocks. Certainly not on Aqua, but it might on one of the PvP worlds. That's hard to say. Okay, now the next step is to add an O2 tank, and station, no doubt, will be coming next. Right now it's asking for the tank, so we will do that one first. I guess I'll put that right there. And now it's asking for an ammo box and weapon, so maybe we don't actually need a station, but I'm still going to put it in place, because that is certainly useful to have. And we have made a weapon, the Gatling gun in here somewhere, it is, and the ammo box. I'll place the ammo box, I guess, top center here. It's as good a place as any, and I've already made a few stacks of the 15mm bullets, which are the ammunition that the Gatling guns do shoot. And then we'll go ahead and just drop that right on the front here. And next, it is now asking us to add a docking pad or landing gear, which I also have created. I should have added, I suppose, probably as I was crafting, but I have unlocked a number of the items that we needed for the quest within the tech tree here. As you can see, the oxygen generator and the basic things, these all start as blue, unlike the very beginner base components. You do not start with anything in the small vessel, much like the hover vessel also starts with nothing, but they are shared in some cases, which is why some of them are unlocked now that we have actually unlocked the other one. So the next step, therefore, will be to power it. In order to place the landing pad on the bottom of the ship, we will need to get at the bottom. So I will drop some power in the ship, get in it, and press the Y key, which powers it up. If I can, okay, hit the Y key instead of the U key will probably work a little better. All right, there we go. Now I can jump out that it's hovering up in the air, so we can now see underneath and take our landing gear block and drop that down. And now it's asking to place additional blocks. And I have made some of the small steel blocks with that in mind. Not sure if I'm going to be able to get back up to the ship or if I'm going to need to wait for it to settle. I will certainly try, see what happens. Okay, I can get high enough. If I can click at the right time, it appears. Which is easier said than done in my case. Oh, come on, I must be too far away or something, because I know I clicked it. Let our jet boost recharge a little bit here. There we go. Okay, now we can get down, but as we get flat, we should hear the click. Am I not getting flat? Why am I not docking, I wonder? Am I on something? It acts as if I'm on something, doesn't it? Hit the O key to level us off. Something is not functioning quite right here for some reason. I'm not sure why. Go up. There we go. It's probably because I have such small engines, it has a hard time moving and rotating and the like. Okay, get us back down. It should dock. Apparently is not. I must not have it quite flat. I think it'll dock on this pad. No matter, even if it doesn't dock, that's not super critical. So we'll get out and place our blocks. Just put a couple as a matter of protection, say in front of the cockpit, for example. But that should be enough to get our update, and it is not. I wonder why. Place which additional blocks, I wonder, is it asking for? Let's see here. Additional blocks. You can, of course, add several other useful blocks per vessel. Add a cargo box or a storage tool, so it's not asking for actual blocks. But I do have some cargo boxes made as well, assuming that I might have taken this out for something. So there we go. And great, we got an error message. Gotta love that, huh? But continue allowed us to proceed. But we have completed the Chapter 3 quest. So that there wraps up the tutorials, other than the mystery signal test, which I am not certain what to do about. We still have quite a few of the single-player missions to do, which we can continue as the series proceeds forward. But now our ship is basically complete. The basic ship, I should say, is complete. We'll go ahead and turn it off and start with the next order of business for the day, which is simply to start customizing the base. And as I had said in the last episode, step one of that will be basically to disassemble these 3 buildings, which will take a little bit of time, so naturally I will do that off camera. But that is really very simple to do, as you've seen me do in last season, as well as I think in a few cases in this season as well. It's really just a matter of using the disassemble option on the multi-tool and shooting the blocks until they disappear. And then those blocks appear in our inventory. Naturally, with the structural integrity, it is best to start at the top and work our way down. So I will proceed forward with that and bring you back in when we make some progress. And progress step 1 is made. The first building is now collapsed and in my inventory. So we have a general idea on what we will be obtaining as we continue on for the next 2 buildings, which I will continue to do now. And there's the second building gone. Now we're just about out of fuel, so I will make some more fuel before I continue on to the third and final building that I will be destroying today. And after that, it will simply be customizing the remainder of what is left. So the hole you're looking at now in the dark is where the building was. It is gone now. I've also gone around and placed a few lights about just to illuminate what's going on a little better. This base is really not lit particularly well, so I have been putting a few lights about here and there just to try to improve the lighting even inside. If I turn my own personal light off, you can see it's really quite gloomy in here and hard to see, so I will continue doing that. But the next thing I will be clearing as well are the frivolous things, such as the decorations, those medical containers, etc., that I looted the other day in episode 1, I think it was. Might have been 2. Just to make room for other components that will be more useful for us in the base, as this will be our primary production base on the planet at least. So I will continue to do that and start disassembling these guys to put them in our pack, and we'll be back hopefully in the daylight, when that is complete. So here it is the following game day. I have all the guts cleared out of these guys, a lot more space to work with. Although I did manage to blow up one of the buildings, the tower over there, where I did have the turret on top of, caved in, and I could not rebuild it. The way these buildings are snapped together with the funky angles and like that, if any one of these blocks disappears, half the building caves in. It's kind of, I don't know, it's not terribly structurally sound. Actually, for curiosity, I should take a look at the structural integrity just for kicks. Let's see. Probably going to show all again. Of course, it shows all green. Well, no, it doesn't. See, now it's all red up there, except for the windows. So it looks like the windows, oddly enough, are supporting most of the weight. Should probably consider putting some additional support up there. It's not a very good design as far as structural integrity. I suspect this may be one of the older bases. Nonetheless, with that said, I have also proceeded forward as well down there while daylight was coming in placing and rearranging this, so it's a lot easier to simply just walk straight over to the other building, which is the building that has our other goodies in it, even though there's only one level now. But still need to close that up. Let's see, or did I guess I did close it up. I was afraid to take this out, honestly, because I suspected this one would collapse if I took the elevator out of it. That may be part of the support, I don't know. Really not, again, I'm not impressed with this particular structure. It looks pretty and all that, but it's structurally horrible. So with that said, we'll continue on and see what other things we need to add. I know the next thing I really need to get to is down to the other base. I'm not sure if we'll get to that this episode or not. I think we're just about done. We're a little short on time here, not quite done, with a half-hour mark, which is, as you may recall, is typically my target. But we're pretty close, so I think we'll leave it at that. So we have our ship crafted and got that quest out of the way. The next thing I really will need to do is go up to the moon. Hopefully I will survive, but that will be longer than we have time for in this episode. As I, let's see, what was I going to look at? I wanted to take a look at the ladybug, because I am curious what I need for resources. The straight one I can do, but I think the heavy I need some saphium. And then the wisp here, my ultra miner, which I have basically just completed, so we'll look at getting into that, but I still need level 15 in order to create that, and I am still only a level 11. Close to 12, which of course is also where the tier 2 multi-tool comes in. As you can see, my experience is pretty close, so before we leave the planet, I think I will simply hang out and harvest some plants on the ground and like that, and perhaps work on the base. In fact, I'll work on the base now, and then we'll do a snapshot of that before the end of the episode is probably the wise thing to do, because I'll be able to spread that out a bit more and just lay it out a little better so I'm not roasting myself from the heat of the generator while I'm picking the tomatoes I had down there. And as I got down to the base, I actually had a better thought. I'm going to wrap this episode up perhaps with a quick spin in our new small vessel. We can take a look for some drones perhaps and pick them off, because it occurs to me it's actually been a couple days in game and I have not yet received a drone attack on my main base down there. Now I have seen some other YouTubers doing some playthroughs that have noticed some bugs. In one case, he was on Ningus, and there were perhaps a dozen or so drones surrounding one of the new NPC capital vessels that patrol the areas. And he just rode up underneath. They did not attack him. He rode underneath with his hover vessel and created literally a rain of drones. And I've seen another individual also on Aqua, but it was not actually Aqua. It was one of the scenarios. It's an Aqua-like climate, but I believe it's actually a different planet name in that particular scenario. But in his case as well, the drones, while they're flying around, ignore him as if he was not existing. So I'm starting to wonder if perhaps the drones are bugged in this game as well. So let's take a look. I don't know if I've actually found anything that has drones as yet. Actually, I want to say, I think the farm has drones near it. So why don't we hop in our small vessel here and head over towards that farm and see what happens. I am curious to see if I too am bugged as they are. I'm kind of hoping not, because that might require a game restart. I would prefer not to do that. If with luck, I'm hoping I can continue this play in through until it actually goes live for the overall live servers, since we are still playing on the experimental server. And for that matter, flying around as well also gives us the opportunity to get some experience just in discovering things. Okay, let's see, am I loaded? Let's get our single Gatling gun loaded, but there are two drones floating about here. Let's see what they do when I fly by. See if they... This is... Actually, that looks like part of the Titan. Yeah, it is. But the drones don't seem to care that I'm here, do they? They are indeed ignoring me. Even though I believe I have them set on hard, they don't seem to care, do they? At all. He's looking at me? He's not even looking at me, so I have a funny feeling that they're not going to be attacking the base either. I think I'll land and get out just to see what happens. Sort of land anyway. They're a funky little ship here that hardly flies with its little itty-bitty engines. So what happens? Are they paying attention to me at all? See, they're completely ignoring me. This is going to be a duck hunt. Kind of takes a bit of the excitement out of the game. Thankfully, the NPCs that I've seen do attack, so if I go into the bases at least, we will have something to fight, but clearly the drones are bugged right now because they are not bothering with us at all. Even though I'm shooting it, he's still ignoring me. Look at that. That's sad. That's unfortunate. I'm sure that's something they're working on. Perhaps I'll create a bug report or something for them, although I'm sure others have done so, because having no drone capability or no active drones takes away much of the excitement in the game. Though it does give us some easy loot. But if I want a game I'm going to be cheating and doing stuff like that on, to be honest with you, I would play something like Diablo Hack, or one of those type games, but that's really not my style. I don't enjoy playing in that fashion at all, personally. To each their own, though, I suppose. So there's that. I wonder what the space drones will do. We still have a little bit of time, I think, so I think we'll we'll head out into space, see if I can find a space drone up there, because I know we will need a couple of Zascosium as well for the mining drill that I do have on the Wisp mining vehicle I had just mentioned. So with luck, maybe I can get a couple of the power coils from the drones up top. Okay, there's a plasma space drone. Let's see what it does when I get nearby. Okay, he's at least shooting at me. At least that won't be too boring. So we can do stuff in space, I guess, to get some goodies. Of course, I can't turn fast enough to follow his movement. This may be more of a challenge than I planned for, actually. Actually, that wasn't too bad, was it? Well, sorry about that. Stopped recording when my freaking keyboard spazzed out once again, and it stopped me right after we got the space drone. What we did miss up there was just me looting it, being that it was negative 130 degrees. I could only be out of the ship for about 30 seconds or so before I started taking damage, which was enough. Just fly in right close to it, and that was all right. And then as I was flying back down, I ended up plugging another drone just as I went by. But then the other thing I did is I used the new waypoint system. As you can see, the yellow marker over there in front of us says SV base. If you right click on the map wherever you would like, you can create a waypoint now with Alpha 6.01 and beyond. You can name it, which HV base is fine for this particular one, but we can set it as a waypoint, and if we would like, we can have it disappear when we approach if we're going after a base that we're going to be removing, for example. So if we hit accept, now when I close the map, you'll see we have a second one over here. The benefit to these over your standard radar is that they last, or they're much further range. I believe they're all the way around the planet. Plus, they give you an arrow rather, not an error, hopefully. As you can see, the one pointing to the right towards the second waypoint, which is very much like when you're setting the planet for your hyperdrive in space on your capital vessels. So that is very nice to see. That said, it's time to empty the stuff out, because I have more on the ship than I can carry in one load. I kind of goof things up there, as I often do. Sometimes with the video, it's especially difficult. Truly, I say to you that half of the time windows are opening are not me pressing buttons. I'm convinced at this point it's the USB on my system, because it doesn't matter. I've tried 3 different keyboards, and all 3 of them do exactly the same thing, so there's something with the USB. Unfortunately, I don't have the slots to put a USB card in place of the onboard one. Eventually, I will have to replace the system board, I think, because it's on its way out without a doubt after a few years of service, so I can't really complain, because I use it pretty hard all the time. I don't know, that's pretty screwed up. But what I do know is that I'm okay. It's the world that's all wrong. It's just a matter of perspective. I thank you very much for watching, and until next time, take care.